How are you today? Hope you're doing well. It's always good to be with you. It's nice to be here in our at-home kitchen. And we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. Now, I know it's still a couple weeks away, but we thought that this would be a good time to do some Thanksgiving desserts that you can make ahead and pop them in the freezer. And then just the day of or the day before Thanksgiving, you don't have to worry about putting them together or whatever, that you'd be able to pull them out, maybe put an icing on them, or just let them thaw down or bake them off, because we're going to do a pie that we're going to assemble and wrap it and freeze it, and then bring it out the morning of Thanksgiving and bake it off. So we have a cake, we have a pie, we have cookies, and we have a bread with pumpkin or raisins. This time of the year, that's what it says. You have to have pumpkin, raisins, or apples. We didn't do apples, but we did the other two. So I think you're going to enjoy the show today, because we're giving you a great variety. And then next time we'll be doing Thanksgiving dinner, and we don't have to worry about desserts. That's always great. It's hard when you have to tie up the oven to make the pies, and it's just, if you only have one oven, you're really in a bind. So we're trying to ease that off for you. These can be made a few days ahead. And remember, if you're packing them away and you have people in your house that really likes to get in the freezer and sneak, just pack them up and write on the outside, liver. They'll not bother them. They will not break into liver. I'm telling you, they aren't going to do it. Okay, Rick, I think that's what happens at your house. Okay, anyway, stay with us, because when we come back from the hint, we're going to get started with our Thanksgiving desserts. This is the time of the year that we give great pause and give great thanks to the Lord God Almighty for his blessings on us personally and our country. So let's be sure to keep our minds around that as we're going through the time of celebrating. Okay, we'll be right back in just a moment. When a recipe calls for pumpkin, be sure to check if it means pumpkin puree or pumpkin pie mix. There is a great difference, and if you use the wrong one, the outcome will not be good.
If you have an at-home hint, a favorite recipe, or just a friendly greeting you'd like to share, we'd like to hear from you. Post it in the comments of this video or visit our Facebook page.
Well, Patty's in the kitchen with me, and we're having fun before we even start having fun, because we're working on all kinds of desserts for Thanksgiving. Now, you're going to start with the bread. This is awesome bread, huh?
Awesome pumpkin bread, yes it
Okay,
is.
tell us what's in it.
There is pumpkin, oil, flour, all kinds of seasonings, cinnamon, nutmeg, all that kind of good stuff, allspice. So, eggs. Good.
This makes a lot too, huh? Makes a couple nice big loaves. Okay, I want to tell you something. Last year the pumpkin crop was really bad, and it's hard to find. Towards the end of the season it was really hard to find. Now they say that it's going to be okay this year. We got this in the big industrial cans. That's what we had to get in order to get pumpkin, but we were making a lot of pumpkin things, so we're okay. But I'm telling you, if you see this, grab the pumpkin when you see it, because it may not be there when you go to get it, when you need it, okay? Just a little, and this is puree, not pumpkin pie mix.
Yeah, and I haven't even seen the pie mix either.
No, because they haven't done it. Okay, so she's going to start that. Me, I'm making the old-fashioned. My dad, he loved any kind of a raisin pie as long as it was a raisin pie. I mean, it just had to be a raisin pie, because you couldn't have Thanksgiving without it. So this one's pretty easy. We're just going to take, of course, we have our bag of raisins there, and move this around here. Let's start out with 2 eggs. We have the oven set on, mine's set on 450, because this has to bake 15 minutes high to get the crust going. And then we turn it down and bake it for about another 40 minutes or so, 25, 40 minutes on 350. So that's something you want to be sure to do. And what are you doing over there now?
I just mixed all my dry ingredients together.
Now, what's the seasoning? What's the flavorings in it? Is there cinnamon?
There is a teaspoon of cinnamon, teaspoon of nutmeg, and a teaspoon of allspice.
Oh, okay.
So it makes nice, flavorful, spicy bread.
Okay, to my 2 eggs, I'm adding a cup of sour cream. Now, that's unusual to put that in a raisin pie.
Right.
But I'm telling you, it's going to be good. It's going to be real good. I love this because, my mom, she used to make mincemeat pie, which is not a favorite, but Dad would eat it because she'd make it, because it was a tradition when she was growing up. None of us ate it except my dad. Well, then when I started cooking and baking, I started making a raisin pie. He said to my mother, don't make the mincemeat anymore, we'll eat the raisin. So that's my job as always. You
Right.
got to make it. This is a 1 pound package. It's about 2 1/4 cups of just plain old raisins. All right. Just get that out of there. You don't have to plump them first because the moisture that's in this is going to plump it. Okay.
Which makes it nice because sometimes it's a pain cooking and stirring all those
Exactly.
raisins to get it. So that's a nice recipe.
Okay, we have a cup of packed brown sugar. There is a difference of just loading up some brown sugar and packing it in. There's a whole lot of difference in the amount that you're using. Half a cup of chopped walnuts. We have some sugar here. Okay. And we have cinnamon and some ground nutmeg and a little bit of salt. And all you do, I'm telling you, this is simple, simple. You just mix all this together. Get down in there where those unbeaten eggs, or those beaten eggs are. Make sure they are beaten because that's what's going to really help this to come together. What are you doing over there?
I am getting ready to mix my wet ingredients.
Okay, what's the wet ingredients now?
Pumpkin, eggs, water, oil, and then you put
What
your
kind of
sugar
oil
in.
are we using in that?
Canola, which
Oh,
is
okay.
real. I've never really used canola oil.
Yeah,
so
because I usually use like a vegetable oil.
Yeah, I've never vegetable oil of olive oil, but
Yeah.
of course not the
you don't
bake
want to
with.
use. Yeah, you don't want to use the olive oil. It's too
No.
heavy in oil for that, so you don't want to
Right.
use that.
So this is really interesting to
Yeah.
see what it's going to be like with the canola. I guess it won't be too much different.
No, I
huh?
think it's pretty much. It's a little lighter and a little bit easier without not as much fat in it. So it's
Okay.
probably more healthier, but
a
will
healthy
be good.
dessert. Go figure.
yeah. Well, but you know what? When it's Thanksgiving, you know, you always splurge on those holidays throughout
Oh,
the
heck
year.
yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah.
My filling is ready. We've just taken a refrigerated pie crust, and you don't have to use a deep dish. You just use a regular 9-inch pie crust, and I'm just going to drop the filling in there.
Looks like that's going to be
So
a wonderful
simple.
pie.
Yeah, it's got a creamy base to it. It isn't solid raisin like a lot of pies are.
Right.
Just so like that. Now there's 2 options for a crust. You can either do a lattice crust if you have some time, that's nice. Or we put my little bits of butter here and there. That just makes the crust flakier. That's
My
only just,
mom used to always tell me to do that when she would bake a pie. She said you have to put that butter
yeah,
on
because
top.
it gives the crust a buttery
Yeah.
flavor. And we know that they don't usually make pie crust with butter, so
Right.
you want to add that dimension of flavor. Just dot it around wherever you can. And that's it, okay? Now, with your other pie crust, we're just going to open it up like this. And with your pizza cutter, that's the important thing here. You're going to take the edges off because those are the short ends. Can't use those. All right? But now you're going to make about 3/4 inch strips, just like that.
That makes for a nice pie. That
I
lattice
think.
crust gives it
I think it's a
bit
festive,
different.
yeah. And if you don't do the lattice and you do a solid crust, what you're going to need to do is make some vents in the top because this will build up steam, and you need to be sure
That steam can
that
get out.
steam can get out, or you're going to have a blow-apart pie,
Ooh.
which is not
Might
good for
be
anybody.
Interesting for your stove. huh?
Well, why not? Huh?
Your oven.
Pie. That would add to the festivities. Huh? Let's see, better go with a short one here. And you want to make sure that you put the short ones on the ends because they fit there pretty good.
Right.
Okay, now to do the lattice, you're going to do every other one. I'm going to pick them up this way because it's easier. And you're going to lay one across, and you're going to put it back down.
That
See?
looks easy to do too.
And then the next time, we're going to pick this up, the other 2, and we're going to drop a piece of crust. Don't worry about these leftover ends. Don't worry about them at all. And then we put it back. Then we go back to the ones that we picked up first. We bring them down like that. And we put one across there. And we put the lattice back like so. And then for the final one, we put the last one here.
Perfect.
Perfection all the way.
Yeah. And it
Now-
does. It makes it so special.
Now what you want to do is you want to press these pieces of dough against and even turn them under, because that's going to lock them in place. They're not going to pop up on you when it's baking. You don't want that, because this bakes at a hot oven, 450, for 15 minutes, and then you turn it down, let it bake for 350 for a few more minutes. So you want to be sure that you tuck all those under, push them together, and tuck them under. Tucking them under so that they do not come apart. Okay? We're going to keep working here. When we come back, we got a whole lot more. Stay with us. There's more with our Thanksgiving desserts. We'll be back.
Do you love watching At Home with Arlene Williams? Then be sure to check out our new YouTube channel. It's filled with classic episodes from over 20 years of At Home, and more videos are added each day. And don't forget to click the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode of At Home.
Well, if you just joined us, we're making Thanksgiving desserts, and we've got our associate producer. We snagged her again because I want her to take this pie. This is the way this pie looks after the lattice has been put on it. Now, because I don't want to bake this now for Thanksgiving, I'm going to hand this off to Laurie. She's going to put plastic wrap on it first, wrap it really tight in plastic wrap, and then she's going to put foil all over it, and then we're going to pop that in the oven. Now, when she brings that out on Thanksgiving morning to bake, we're going to take some cream or some milk and just paintbrush it all over the top and sprinkle sugar on it and then bake it, okay? You can bake it ahead, but don't freeze it. You have to eat it. As soon as you bake it, you have to eat it. That does not last a long time. You don't want to do that a couple days ahead. That doesn't. It loses its taste and its good quality. Okay, so thanks, Laurie. Okay, what are you doing over here?
All right, I am making pumpkin
Mini whoopie pies. Oh, for those of you who don't know what a whoopie pie is, you missed half your life. No, it's a pumpkin cookie that's sandwiched together, kind of like a chocolate gob, but it's pumpkin.
Yeah.
These are great. And you can make them small, you can make them big, whatever. And this makes a lot.
Yeah, it does. Makes a nice amount of cookies.
Okay, so
it's
what are you
good.
doing first?
First, you cream your butter and your sugar. So it's like a half cup of butter and 1 1/4 cups of sugar.
And I'll
You
take
just
that
cream
pan
it
you
up.
have back there while you're doing that.
Yes, here's your praline.
I'm making a praline pumpkin torte. This is the cake. Those are the cookies. We have the pie and the bread, so 4 different kinds. And all this is 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar packed, 1/3 of a cup of butter, 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. This makes your praline. Now what I'm going to do with that is pour that into my 9-inch cake pans, and you want to divide half against half, okay? So start to pour it in here. And this is to cover the bottom of the pan, because this is the praline that we're all talking about. Oh my goodness.
That's good.
I'll tell you, we've made one of these ahead because we want you to see it. When you get that smell, oh my. I'll tell you, that there's just certain smells that you associate with Thanksgiving, and anything pumpkin, you're there. You're on the way. Let's go. Okay, we're just going to mix that around. And you don't have to boil this for a long time. It's really just
a few minutes just to melt it down.
Just to melt down the sugar and to make sure that it's doing okay, and it's going to spread on the bottom of your pan. Okay, Patty, go to town, girlfriend. Jeez. She could wear out a mixer like that fast, I'm telling you.
I'm going to make sure it gets incorporated.
I could tell. I felt like I was screaming at the top of my lungs. It's okay, I understand. All right, so we're just pounding the praline, and look, it's just sticking all on the bottom of that pan, yum, yum. Now, what we're going to do is take a cup of wonderful pecans that have just been kind of chopped, half in each. Oh my, this is a wonderful cake. And this is going to make a topping for the cake layers, plus we're going to sandwich it together with a wonderful filling. This is one of those, yum. Okay, so we're going to let that sit. Now we're going to put together the cake, which I have 4 eggs in here. I'm going to get those started. They need to beat up a little bit. And to that, let me find my recipe here, make sure I'm giving you the right ingredients. I'm going to add some oil. This would be a 1/2 cup of canola oil. I'm going to turn the speed down so you're not wearing it. Okay, just add that very slowly. This would take the place of a butter or whatever. This is kind of a healthy alternative. I don't know about talk about healthy with everything else that's in this. But then we have some sugar. That's going to go in. We want that to blend really, really well together. And that needs to combine real well. Okay?
All right, you ready?
Go for it. While she's doing that, I'm going to add some pumpkin over here while she's doing that noise. And this is, how much pumpkin here? 2 cups. 2 cups of pumpkin. We're going to add that so that blends in with the egg mixture that we're doing. There we go. I love this time of the year because this kind of gets everything started for the whole holiday season that we all think of as the last 6 weeks of the year. And this just sets the tone. This is great. We want that to blend really well. And then I'm going to add some vanilla, just a little bit of vanilla, like 1/4 of a teaspoon. All right. And then in here I have 2 cups of flour. I have 2 teaspoons of baking powder. These are our dry ingredients. And I have 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. That's got your cinnamon, your nutmeg, your ginger, all of that in there. And a teaspoon of baking soda, teaspoon of salt. And those are the dries. We just mix them around. You want to incorporate that really well so that it all gets blended. How are you doing over there, Lucy?
I am doing really good.
Now, the important thing with those is that each cookie, remember, you have to sandwich them, so you want them to be the uniform shape. And the best way I thought that you could do that, I asked Patty to bring one of her pastry bags with a tip in it, with just a plain tip. There's not even any tip to it. It's just a tip,
right.
Right. And then that way she can just pump them out as needed. Okay, while she's doing that, I'm going to start adding my dry ingredients. You putting that on parchment paper, Patty?
Yes.
Because that's just so much
It calls for it, actually.
Does it?
Yeah, and it does. I love baking on parchment.
I do too.
Makes
What's
a
nice
difference.
about it, you can pull the whole sheet of cookies off your pan if you have to do a quick turnaround.
Right.
You need that pan quickly. Pull them off, you got the pan to use again. Throw another piece of parchment on, you're ready to roll.
Right.
Okay. You give that another quick. Okay. Here we are. I might let that beat just a
These
bit.
ones don't spread as much either. Like I thought they would spread way out, but they really don't. They puff up a little bit, but they don't really
Okay,
spread
now,
out.
but like you have a point in the top of that. Will that bake into a point?
Now you kind of got to press them down a little bit.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
'Cause
So you
it'll
want to
kinda
make sure,
spread.
though, that they're pretty uniform in size.
Right.
That's the important thing. All right. Now, here's my pans. Remember what we put? We've got the praline in there already. Now, you want to get down in there and make sure everything's combined really well. Get your spatula to the bottom. Don't want any flour in the bottom of that pan. And then you just start to pour half of your batter here and half of the batter there. Look at that praline's doing.
Yeah.
That praline is going to town, man. I'm loving it. This goes into a preheated oven of 350 degrees. And when we come back, we're going to show you how we put the rest of this together. In fact, we're going to show you everything we made today. Here's how you can get today's recipes and a whole lot more. Stay with us.
Just go to ctvn.org/athome to get all the recipes from today's show for free. That's right, no subscriptions. They're available online at no cost, and more are being added each day. So join us at ctvn.org/athome to get today's recipes now.
Bring it on. Thanksgiving's around the bend, but we're getting ready, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
I'm telling you, this could be a buffet that you would have in the evening after you had dinner if you wanted to, because there's so much here and such a variety. We hope you're going to enjoy this. I know you will. Let's start right here. This is is this the most beautiful thing you ever saw? Look at that.
Gorgeous.
It is the most beautiful, and the smell, that praline bakes. Look how the nuts, it bakes on the edges of the cake. And then this is whipped cream that we've whipped with some powdered sugar. And then we put it between the layers. You don't want to frost this, no, but you have to keep it in the fridge. If there's any left over, which I doubt there will be, but you want to keep that because that's real whipped cream in there. Splurge, it's a holiday, okay? Then Patty, there's your awesome.
Pumpkin bread.
Beautiful. That's really a moist bread. Nice to have those in your freezer just anytime. Dad's old-fashioned pie, that's his delicious raisin pie. Wonderful pie. And then whoopie, we got our whoopie pies over here. We got 2 different sizes. This size would be the standard size for an adult. I think these would be great this size for the kids, because you know kids will take cookies and they take a bite and then they don't. This would be just great. Or these are nice if you're just having one bite things. Like, you know, sometimes people don't want a whole lot of something when they've had a big meal. Those are obviously for that. But any of this freezes well. If you're planning on making this, make your cake layers and wrap them well like we did the bread and put them in the freezer. The day of, bring them out, and then you assemble it right before you use it. Same with these. You want to assemble things that you can right before, because it's really important to keep that fresh taste.
Right.
A lot of good fresh fruit. What more could you want? Here we are, and we've just got started on Thanksgiving. Next week, it's Thanksgiving dinner. So be sure to join us. You know, it's always great when the family comes by. Thank you, Patty, for helping us out. She's our resident baker, and you're our resident friend. We'll see you next time. Be sure to join us. It won't be the same without you.
Furnishings provided by Levin Furniture, featuring Lane's Country Living Collection. Food provided by Jordan Banana Company, wholesalers of fresh fruit and vegetables in Trevosburg, Pennsylvania.
Don't forget to click the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode of At Home. Thank you for watching.
Cornerstone Television wishes to thank all our faithful viewers whose consistent prayers and financial support have made this program possible.